Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It is time for another round of in-depth candle reviews. I have 3 more candles that are ready to go. So that's what we're doing here on my channel today. We're gonna go ahead and kick it off with this first review of Candle Fresh Bergamot. A little bit later on today, you will also see an in-depth review of Valispa Rose Auto, and then we will finish the day with a review of Candle Garden Fresh. If you are not already subscribed to my channel and you are interested in more of my home fragrance related content, like these in-depth candle reviews, my candle and wax melt hauls, or my weekly home fragrance roundup, make sure you hit that subscribe button before checking out of today's video. That way all of my future home fragrance related content will pop up in your subscription feed. Anyway, you guys, let's go ahead and kick off today's videos with a review of Candle Fresh Bergamot. Fresh Bergamot was a part of the Spring-Summer 2025 release from Country Candle. If you are not familiar with this decision, let me just give you a quick heads up. This Spring-Summer release is actually the very last run for Country Candle overall. Crinkle Candle did decide to make the decision to discontinue the Country Candle line. I know that this is a decision that some people are not super happy about, and if you are not familiar with it, I wanted to make sure that you knew that this was going to be happening. So there will be no fall or holiday release from Country Candle this year, or really anytime in the near future. I do anticipate that Kringle may potentially, now this is just me, guessing, they may bring back some special limited edition collections from Country Candle. But as of now, they have made the decision to stop with the regular seasonal or special, edition releases from Country Candle. Kringle did state that they would be open to moving a lot of the fragrance from the Country Candle line into their Kringle candle jars. And I know that I personally have let Kringle know of some fragrances that I would like to see transferred over. So if you have some favorite scents from Country Candle that you'd like to see stick around, make sure that you reach out to Kringle on their socials and let them know if there are any fragrances that really rock your world that you can't live without. And hopefully they then, like I said, transfer those fragrances from Country Candle into the Kringle candle jars as the whole transition takes place. So we'll probably also be getting a pretty good, I'm guessing, clearance type sale, maybe a little bit later on this year, when they are getting ready to take all of the Country Candle jars off of their website. So stay tuned for that. I'll definitely let you guys know as soon as that sale starts. There are probably a few fragrances that I myself will get just in case they don't make the transition into the regular Kringle candle jars. All right, let's get started with the scent description as well as the top, middle, and base notes. Okay, the description for Fresh Bergamot reads: glittering bergamot fruits are paired with essences of sophisticated neroli, freshly clipped garden basil, and morsels of green mandarin. Before we dig into these top, middle, and base notes, just a little side note here. I am incredibly impressed with Kringle's ability this spring and summer, and also with their Easter collection, with the number of times that they have included neroli in the fragrance notes. Someone at Kringle is on a real neroli kick, and it's kind of cracking me up. Every other candle has neroli in it right now, and listen, I love it. I love me some neroli, but this is one of the few fragrances here where I don't smell any of the neroli in this one. So that's a little spoiler for you there, but let's go ahead and discuss the top, middle, and base notes. At the top, we have citrus and bergamot. In the middle notes, we have orange and lime. And at the base, we have basil and citrus again. What does my nose actually smell here? Listen, this is coming off as, I would say, for me, 95% bergamot and really fresh, super potent bergamot, you guys. The only other note that I detect in this fragrance outside of the bergamot, and this is about 5% of the fragrance, is I get some lime zest, specifically lime zest, not a sweet lime juice. This is really not a sweet fragrance. This is the freshest of the fresh. My subscriber, Riley, I believe it was Riley, she actually described this as lime pledge. And honestly, as soon as I saw that comment, I thought, yeah, I can totally see that. It is so fresh. It smells like a cleaning product, you guys. It is intensely potent. And as far as whether I think this is an enjoyable fragrance or not, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. This, to me, if I were to enjoy this, I think I would need some sweetness added. And maybe not even necessarily sweetness. I think if I could actually maybe detect some of these other citrus notes, like maybe the orange, that might bring a little bit of natural sweetness. But more so, I think maybe if I could smell the basil in here, I think it would kind of tone down a little bit of that astringentness or astringent nature of the bergamot to my nose. But I don't detect any orange. I don't detect any basil. This is basically just pure bergamot. And then that little bit of lime zest sprinkled on the top, and that's it. I don't love this fragrance. I'll be totally honest. I'm having a real hard time with how potent this is. When we get to the strength and the throw, I might surprise you with the number that I'm going to give this for strength and throw. Like, it is so incredibly potent. And this fragrance is kind of borderline headache inducing for me. It is way too fresh for my liking. And if there was just anything else going on with it, I think that I would personally enjoy it a whole lot more. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy it for what this is. You might really be looking for a pure, fresh bergamot with not a whole lot else added. If that is the case, I cannot direct you to a better possible candle option than Country Candle Fresh Bergamot. You'll love it if you are looking for fresh bergamot. Unfortunately, it's a little too intense for me. Speaking of the intensity, let's go ahead and dig into the strength and the throw. All right, so I have always kind of said in the past that the Country Candle line has been a little weaker for me just in general than the Kringle candle line has been. This is the strongest, probably most potent country candle that I have had since I have started reviewing both Kringle and Country Candle. The strength of this candle is a 9. Like, this is so strong, like I said, that it's almost borderline headache inducing for me. It is so strong. And along with that comes a very strong throw as well. I will give this a throw of not quite a 9. I'm gonna kind of put it between, I would say, an 8 and a 9. It almost fills the whole house when I light this one. I also have kind of struggled to have other candles burn alongside this one, you know, to create like a slightly different scent experience. I've tried pairing some other citrus scents with this one, but this just takes over every other candle that I try to burn alongside. It is that strong. And honestly, if I adored this fragrance, I would be so pleased about that strength and throw. But like I said, this is really headache inducing for me. And it is a candle that I've struggled to burn to this level here, because really once it reaches this wax pool that you see, which is not even a half an inch, like I'm starting to experience that really potent strength and throw. I don't even have to wait for the full wax pool. It is so strong, you guys. It's honestly too much for me personally. So if you in the past have kind of struggled with the strength and throw of country candles and you want to go out with a bang for the last run here, I would say pick this up. It'll scent your whole house. I don't care how big your house is, it will scent your whole house. And if you live in a really small apartment or a studio or a smaller home with enclosed spaces, I would say open your windows when you're burning this one, because you're gonna need a little bit of fresh air. It's gonna take over absolutely everything. So strength and throw, I mean, I'll give it some thumbs up there, because it definitely is giving a performance that I think would knock a lot of people's socks off. So there you go. Let's go ahead and finish it off here with the overall burn quality. Okay, I want you to remember that this is a 2-wick large jar. I'm gonna give you the overhead shot. I want you to let me know how many wicks you see in this candle jar. Do you see 1 wick or 2? There's actually technically 2 wicks in there. But my wicks decided that they were gonna get married. That's right, they ran off and got married on me. Actually, that's not what happened. Listen, there was some wick misplacement here. My wicks are literally, the wick clips at the bottom are kind of overlapping each other. So this is a little bit of a quality control issue, obviously. Clearly, I am not having any issue with this candle pooling out. It's pooling out very quickly. These two flames coming together, I think, are actually creating a hotter burn experience from what I can tell here. Nobody else that I have talked to has had their 2 wicks on the Fresh Bergamot this close to each other. So I think this is just kind of one of those one-offs. I have had this happen with one other Kringle candle in the past. I've also had wick misplacement with other candle companies as well. So it's just a thing sometimes. Luckily, both of the wicks are perfectly centered in the middle. So I'm not too worried about, you know, them drifting to the side of the jar and potentially causing the glass to crack or anything like that. But I am definitely not comfortable burning this one for more than a couple of hours. Even if I really did like the fragrance, I wouldn't be comfortable burning it for too long, because it does burn really hot and fast as a result of these 2 wicks being right next to each other. I definitely also get very large mushroom tops, especially for the first few burns. And because the wicks are so close, it just kind of becomes one giant carbon ball or mushroom top at the top of the wicks there. So I really have trimmed these wicks quite short before each burn. And even with doing that, the carbon balls just form very, very quickly on this one. Another thing that I have noticed, and I don't know if it's gonna come off on camera, but there is definitely some discoloration that I'm starting to see at the top of the jar here. It's not overly sooty, but it definitely is a little bit discolored, more so than I typically experience. So you can see my finger there, and I really think it's because this is just, these wicks are so hot when they're burning. Like I said, I don't leave this one lit for very long. So for what it's worth, I'm not super happy with the burn quality of this one. And honestly, at this point, now that I am done reviewing it, one of our neighbors really likes the smell of this one. So I'm going to be passing this particular candle along after I'm done with the review here. But I am going to tell our neighbor to be very careful when burning this one, and just, you know, make sure that they trim the wicks and to not leave this one lit for probably more than about 3 hours at a time. So anyway, for what it's worth, that has been my experience with Country Candle Fresh Bergamot. So if you're looking for a super potent, very pure fresh bergamot with a hint of lime zest and incredible strength and throw, I obviously can't give this one enough credit for that. So have at it if you're interested. Like I said, I'll have it linked down below. Let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate you being here. Stay tuned for the rest of the reviews coming up a little bit later on today. Toodaloo.